Welcome to the Agent from Within podcast, the only podcast that's here to develop the real estate agent as a human being, to help you get out of your own way, to actually align yourself to what you really want in your life and then build a real estate business around that. We have to focus on the person behind the strategies. Yes, this is going to be filled with tactics, business advice, amazing interviews. But if you're not in the right place mentally and emotionally, you will self-sabotage your business. You will chase, you will compare. This is about creating the best race car driver, not just the best race car. Any race car driver can jump into any car and win the race. We need to develop you as a human being. This is the only place that real estate agents can actually focus on growing yourself and growing your business. Cheers. I'm going to get into something a little more serious here because it is probably one of the things that most people in this world wrestle with. I know that personally on this call, I know people that have wrestled with it and I still do, and everyone still will. And that's pressure. Just a really interesting conversation around pressure. Okay. So let's talk about this. Where does pressure come from? But first of all, let me just back up. I put a post out this morning because I've been thinking about this pressure a lot. And there's a really good side to pressure, okay? We're very much into this meditative kind of like new agey world where you want to be peaceful and you want to have this like beautiful mindset, no pressure at all. But I'm like, if I go to the gym, I'm putting massive pressure on my muscles. I tear them, I rip them, and then I let them rest, they come back stronger. Then you think of how coal turns into diamonds. Then you think about the heat of the hotter the fire, the refining fire of gold is, the more valuable gold becomes. And so been really thinking about pressure sucks and we always try to avoid it. And I'm gonna talk about the negative effects and how to get rid of it, but I just wanna add context that pressure can be very good. I think where we lose touch is the type of pressure and then also being under pressure too long. So there's a couple things there. Like I'm always cooking, guys. Like I just don't know. I think I'm pretty resilient to pressure. I've lived a life where I've had to live on the streets. I had a bad childhood. So I feel like all your guys' stories, that's just my story. Everyone's got their version of that story, but that's where you got strong. Or you're still broken. And in some ways, we're both always that way, and we're working through that. So let's think about this for a second. I spend a lot of time thinking, where does pressure come? How does it get built? How does it show up in my life? You know what it is? It's in here. It's in here. So if you think about this, okay, just imagine yourself sitting on the beach. You have one hand playing in the sand, one drinking a nice drink. And all of a sudden someone walks up and goes, hey, you've got a call. They give you the phone and it says, hey, someone you know that you love got hurt. I think you're going to need to get back from your vacation early. That thought gets injected into your mind. And then what happens inside us? We go crazy. But what's crazy, it's not the actual event because you didn't know about the event. So you were fine. It's the actual thought that shows up and you go, oh, and then you get crazy. You're out there solving things, booking flights, and you're in this high pressure zone. So I really think about this, like this actually happened to me as a kid. We were in Disneyland and my mom and dad got a call, like I was young, that my grandma had an aneurysm. And that was my mom's mom. And so they're like, you got to get back. So I just think about that. My mom and dad were just all over the place. My mom flew back. We were driving back. We left early. My dad drove for like 20 hours straight. Very intense. All because of the news, this thought that showed up. And it just drove us. So I'm trying to break it down a little more elementary then, because it's just that thought. So what would it be like if you didn't have that thought? All this pressure wouldn't be there. It's just this thought. So I start thinking about this. Let's take a look at an example. It's because when I'm working with anyone, and psychologists do this all the time, reframe how you're thinking. Why do we do that? Because it creates energy, it creates power, an aura. We got to reframe some of this stuff. For example, let's think about a kid in a wheelchair. Okay. The guy, let's say one kid says this, Man, it sucks being in a wheelchair. Everyone stares at me. I feel so embarrassed. That's a thought. Another kid shows up and says, man, do I have an advantage in life? I get all the attention. What could I do with this attention? I could be a speaker. Man, I could maybe be an actor. Two thoughts, two different outcomes. Guys, this is one of the most powerful things I've ever learned, is to start observing my thoughts. Because the thought is where the pressure comes from. So guys, like when I do coaching with people, most of the time it's reframing thinking. But there's sometimes, guys, that we're so connected to our old story because thoughts come from belief systems. Like, for example, you get a girl that got cheated on, 10 years later, she's still got a chip on her shoulder against men. Well, that's called your story. Or like someone like me, high potential, I was insecure for so long that people would use me. And so I don't like to be controlled. But truly understanding your story can really help you navigate through your life. I'm not a person that says you got to fix yourself. I think we need to just know who we are. And then eventually that stuff starts working itself out. Because if we try to fix ourselves all the time, that's a whole nother mess. It's an intensity that's constantly trying to fix. It means we're broken, but there's a self-acceptance that comes, and that does lower the pressure. Sometimes we have this, like, we need a challenge. We really need a challenge, almost like a smack, to break through these old thoughts. Because in some way, like bulimia, I've never been bulimic, but if anyone has, you might recognize it, is that in bulimia, the psychology of actually not throwing up is really hard because the dysfunction becomes your comfort. It's almost a familiar friend. It's like drugs, guys. There's something about it. And I think we don't want to face who we are. I don't think we want to face the truth. Like, I was sitting at an event yesterday at our brokerage, and I'm listening to one of the top realtors talk to another guy, and he goes, yeah, you know what? I've never hired a coach. I'm too scared that they're going to ask me to do something. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. But what if we embrace the pain, embrace the challenge? Like, this is what's changed my entire life, is that someone around me called bullshit on me, and I let them. It's the stories we tell ourselves drive these thoughts, which increase the pressure. It's like one guy, it's like this. It's been about 4 or 5 times I've had this conversation, and it's like this. Someone says this. It's a thought that says, you know what? I just can't find business. I don't know what to do. Like, it's where is that coming from? Like, where is this? Is that really true? My line lately, and I know I've said that to some people in this room, if you had 24 hours to live, the only way to survive is to get a deal, what would you do? There was a guy that I talked to a couple of days ago. He runs a brokerage, and he says, hey, Ben, I want to sit down with you. I want to increase my deals, about 10 deals while I'm building my brokerage and all this. And I said, well, what would you do if you had 24 hours to live? He goes, oh, door knock. I would door knock, and I would just nonstop talking to people. I would get it. Oh, okay. So you know the answer. Why would you hire me? Like, at the end of the day, we all know what to do, but we're so stuck in our thinking and it's not willing to do certain things. Anyways, we'll keep moving here. There's another time I was in Peru. I was climbing the Inca Trail. And I was on a mentorship with my mentor. We had a group of people, and we were climbing. It was called Give and Grow, where we'd work in an orphanage, and then we would do some personal growth. We'd climb this crazy 3-day journey over the mountains. One of the best trips I've ever done in my entire life. I might have to take a group myself. But at the time, I was probably 2 years in the business. I was just rocking. I had a part-time assistant, and I had one agent kind of working for me. So my team wasn't fully intact, and it wasn't the best team member. The team member I had was kind of okay. He was good hustler, but the human connection thing was struggling. And I put him kind of in charge while I'm gone, because that was my team. And so what happened was this. 7 days in, amazing trip, life-changing trip. One email. Someday I just opened up my email. I don't know where I was at, and I saw this email from my client. And this lady wanted like Kijiji updates every day. She wants reports every day. She's one of those clients that you're like, should I take her? But I really liked her. She was just totally intense, but I thought she was a real big fan of mine still, just very much high maintenance. But here's the thing, guys. In my head, I put pressure on the thought that I hope I don't have things fall apart. My thinking was like, I'm probably letting someone down because I'm in Peru. Like the thinking behind this, I was already charged and I didn't even know it until I got the email that said, Ben, I hired you for world-class client experience. Where's the world-class client experience? Holy shit. That there, where I was at was like, that was my pride. That was my, but deep down, I knew it wasn't world-class. But I didn't want to face that honesty. So I kind of reacted. I started getting crazy in my head. Like, what do I do? And I don't know what it was. I got so overwhelmed by one thought that for 3 days, the finish of the trip, I was not fully present in my life. And that's a side effect of having this kind of pressure. And it was just all self-pressure, and it was just this reaction. And just like, I don't think I would have that now because I know how to let go of things. If I lose the listing, if I can let go of that thought and go, okay, if I lose the listing, I lose the listing. Oh, I feel better. I've done my very best, and inside myself, I know I've done my best. If I can believe that, or she's going to be fine. She's just freaking out right now. Like, to really think about the thoughts are your energy makers, you know? So that was another example that I had that just by a thought. So I get fascinated by these thoughts that are coming. So just interesting too to think about our brains, okay? There's a lot of science going on right now. I'm fascinated with our brain. So here's the thing, guys. Our brain, they're saying that 14 to 16,000 thoughts a day are on repeat. Some people, I'm sure, have heard this. This is becoming very common knowledge. We have this repeating brain, but we have to, this is the biggest thing, guys. Please take this away, is that you are not your brain. Just like your computer, you're not your computer, but this is just a computer. So you have to separate your identity from your thoughts and your brain that's on autopilot from who you really are. If you can do that, you can then start observing your thoughts and go, oh, there's a thought. Do I want that one? Do I don't want that one? Now you all of a sudden are in control again. Now you can change this. It's a very interesting practice to start observing your thoughts. Then you say, there's a few things you can do. There's so much we can talk about here, but I'm just giving you enough to take today. Your thought could be coming, like, where's this thought coming from? Actually, I'm gonna jump to this, guys. Okay, we're gonna talk about doing a thought audit. At this point, this is the perfect spot to put it in. There's 5 questions that you want to ask yourself. When a thought comes in your mind, first question, where did this come from? This is called being very aware. It's kind of like guys, if it's on autopilot and you don't choose to actively work on the main operating system of your entire life, other than your soul and your spirit, this machine is running it. If you don't take a second and just go, where'd that thought come from? Next one, is that thought really mine? Is that my thought? Now let's go through this, guys. Let's just imagine this. I know Corey, I'm going to share a story that Corey and I talked about. We've had many, many conversations. One was really interesting because I had to unwind a belief system and challenge it with Corey back in the day. And one of the things was, he said, well, I'll probably mess it up a little bit, Corey, but the concept, you'll get it. Everyone will get it. The thought was this. Well, I think we're sitting in the hot tub after playing squash one day. And it was like, you know what? I think it was like coming into September. He goes, well, the one thing I do know is that all your money is made in the spring market. And I'm coming into the fall now. So whatever you've made, it kind of had this energy around it. And I thought, I used this kind of technique. I said, I wonder if that's his thought. I wonder if that's his thought. Is that his thought? Because honestly, guys, half the stuff we believe is just given to us. If I was born in the Middle East, you know, I wouldn't be a Christian person from North America. Like, there's so much about where we are grown up and what culture and what belief systems we're being given are not ours. That's why people feel so lost in life. They feel lonely and they feel all these different things happen because we got to figure out who we are. Like, what do I believe? It's like really owning your life. If you want to have an amazing life, this has to be done, or else you're just going to have someone else's life, some version of it. For me, I'm not cool with that. I've done it. I've followed people's visions. I've tried to do different things. The only time I ever get happy is when I stand on my own and say, this is the life I'm building. I'm not following anyone. So the thought was, in the spring market, all the sales, that's when they come. But then I said, I just want to challenge that, because this last fall, my last fall was 10 times bigger. It wasn't 10 times, but it was way bigger than my spring. I said, so by thinking that thought, Corey, how's your fall going to look? You know? Corey, you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I remember that day. I didn't remember the full conversation, but I did remember there being that moment where, you know, you challenged me, and, you know, not like that was something new. you always sharpened me up, but yeah, that was one of those moments where I did have a mind block where I just couldn't get past it. And some of it, that was from past experience or talking to other realtors, and, you know, them saying, like, even another educational realtor was just like, oh yeah, you get 60% in your summer and spring, or whatever the stats were. But I just believed it because I heard it, rather than saying, no, I'm going against the norm.
Yeah, like, guys, if we followed what people say, we would never have innovation. Like, I wouldn't have this academy. We wouldn't have like a highlighter. Because back in the day, it was like dipping in ink, and like innovation breaks all the rules. It's actually what I'm obsessed with. It's like my funnest place. It's like playtime for me. Let's innovate. Like, it's almost too much for me. That's why as soon as I hear you guys say anything about being in a box, I'm going to challenge you, because you guys run the show. So here's the next question. So first, let's go back. Where did the thought come from? Is that thought someone else's thought? And then here's the big one, guys. Is that thought true? Is that thought really true? Let's see. This is what I did with Corey in that example. I say, is that true? Well, and now you all of a sudden take ownership of this thought. Oh yeah, I guess it might not even be mine. Oh, where did it come from? Yeah, is it true? So you can even start with that question first. Is that true? Where did it come from? But then there's the next question. Is it 100% true? First of all, is it true? Next question, is it 100% without a doubt true? Now, if it's not true, in some weird way, we're believing some lie. We're believing some made up truth, and we're living our life basically saying that this lie is true. So here's what I say. Why don't you come up with a different one that serves you, even if it's not 100% true? If you're doing not 100% true, come up with a better thought. Change it. Well, you know, the spring market's usually good, but you know what? I've seen a lot of people just kill it in the fall. See? Different thought, different energy, different pressure, different results. Is it 100% true? Probably not, but neither was your first one. So if you're going to choose to believe something 90% true, make some shit up that's way better, because you're believing stuff that's not true anyways. Start reframing your life. This is the shit that changes everything, guys. So let's reframe the untrue thought to another thought that may not be totally true, but it strengthens you and increases your energy. Like Corey, it reframed it. And then all of a sudden we're not limited to, well, I only got like this stupid number of 40%. It's all we can get now. That's bullshit. Did you know how many Decembers I was like number 1 and 2? Because I love December. Like even today though, it does get me. It's been a long haul, guys. The market's not the best. It does get me. I'm not some freaking Superman, but I'm going to change that thought. I'm going to slip into it, but I'm slipping out of it. I'm going to shift my gears and say, guess what, guys? This pressure is shaping me right now. This pressure is shaping me. I go back to think my muscles are getting torn. I go back to the caterpillar turning into a butterfly. That process has got to hurt. So the pressure that you're under, change it, reframe it. So it's like, fuck, this sucks. Oh my goodness, I gotta freaking. No, this is the time to grow. You're in the freaking gym. You gotta reframe it. I have to reframe it, guys. So this is what you do, right? Ask those questions. Challenge your thoughts. Is it true? Is this even mine? If it's not, what the hell do I think? Guess what? We are never taught that as kids. What do you think? At kids, you're told this is how it is. This is what this means. This is what that means. Every single thing we do is being told to us. But you know what? I'm raising my kids going, what do you think, Jack? Jack, when you think about religion, what do you think? Because I don't know, Dad. I'm just exploring this. I'm just wondering. I feel like there's something, but best conversation. Super proud of myself. Because I come back from a very extreme religion where it's like, this is the way, this is the way. But that's what every religion says. So I start challenging all that stuff. I don't care what it is. Like when it comes to anything. Like in my childhood, my mom would like, we'd say the word sex and it was a bad word. I don't know if anyone, I'm sure people relate to this in some level. The word sex, mom's like, oh, careful, don't say that. Like, so it screws you up. Like, well, what, like, it's almost bad. You know, like, so you got to unwind all of this stuff. This is what the real truth is. And know what happens? Your energy around you changes. You become very attractive. Jen, you know it. Even the last, so Jen and I are doing one-on-one coaching, and Jen started with, can you share a little bit of what changed when you shifted your thinking and the pressure? Because it's a good time for that.
Yeah, for sure. So I think when we started, I was definitely in that negative space. Things just weren't working so well, and just like personal, career-wise as well. And I think just beating myself up and just being trapped in that cycle. And then exactly like you said, we started the coaching and you challenged me and said things that needed to be said, and just little steps at a time, shifting my focus. And also with my kids, right? Because I was seeing the impact on my kids and sort of that negativity. And that was not me. Like, I've never been that way. And I think sometimes you get caught up in it and don't really recognize it. That as a person, you're becoming more of a negative energy, or just sort of down in the dumps.
It's subtle. It's slow and subtle, right?
Yeah. And I don't even know exactly what helped me sort of come to and recognize it, that holy man, something's got to change now. But it did. And yeah, over the past few months,
people are recognizing your energy now though, right? You're like, oh, Jen, you're smiling. Like, something's changing. And you're getting lucky, aren't you? Like, things are happening.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And it just seems to be every time I kind of get myself back to that good spot, it's just weird how, then someone phones me about listing in the spring.
I know. I'm telling you, this is how to create the luck factor, guys. I promise you. I cannot systemize this, but I promise you, I've seen it at least 30 to 40 times in my clients where shit comes to you and you're like, how the hell did that happen? Mm-hmm. And all it was an energy change. This is science, guys. This is nothing. This is just quantum physics. It's about magnetic forces. This is about the energy you put out. It's just absolute truth that needs to come to the front forth of all these coaching programs I'm seeing talk about strategies. That's why there's 1 week every month we hit this stuff, because this is the stuff that really actively, quantumly, I don't know what that means. It sounds awesome. Totally, like completely like doubles and triples your results. Like doing a good strategy and executing it well will get you incremental results. You want mega results? You shift the man running it. You shift the energy behind it. You become very, very attractive. That's what's happening in my personal life, guys. Why are people coming to me? I just got asked to speak again. A broker emailed me, goes, man, I'm going to be totally trying to fill your event. Why is this happening to me? Like, I just feel like I got to be me. I got to stand alone. I got to trust what I have inside me. Like, it's something that's really, I challenge my thoughts. Is it mine? All day long, is it mine? Is it mine? If I get into a funk, which I do, which I've done last week, it's just, you get depressed and you get down. But now let's go back to some basics. Did I eat well? Did I exercise? And did I sleep? Sometimes we don't need to go so deep. Sometimes it's basic physical reaction of chemical reactions. We're lacking dopamine. We're lacking the good chemicals. The self-care is something that I'm getting more in love with. The one thing I'm looking at is bringing in a meditation practice into my life. And I'm like ADD times 50, guys. And so it's very difficult, but I'm starting to realize, and the studies that are coming out, the billionaires are putting every bit of their success and labeled onto their meditation practice. And I'm like, what the frick? But what we're talking about is shifting our thinking, which shifts our energy, challenges old belief systems. Now we become like, is there an elevated human being we can become with a bit of a higher energy? Maybe. I think I'm experiencing just a little bit of it. I'm thinking, what's possible? This is the thinking. This is why you're on this call. Let's shift the thinking. Hopefully I can raise your energy. I think that's my dream, is that I walk into a room and energy gets raised. And then people can know who they really are and actually build a life that's freaking amazing. I'm not settling for some bullshit life, guys. But guess what? On one side of it, I'm okay with nothing. I just want to remember, if I have to live in a tent with my wife and kids, I will be 100% okay. If I lose it all, I'm okay. I'm not holding on to an outcome. This is a very, very, very interesting point. When you're holding on to an outcome, stress shows up. This is one of the most beautiful things, guys. So simple to fix and work on. If you're late for a meeting by 10 minutes, how do you feel? You feel stressed and you're gunning it. You're not thinking straight. That's an example of being under pressure. You're not thinking straight. You're not aware. You're not seeing things properly. Guess what, guys? Then you get a ticket. It costs you money. And then you go meet at the meeting. You're on tilt. But what happens if you just said, I'm going to be late, call them, I'm going to be late, and let go of the feeling of trying to be on time? All of a sudden, you're fine. You see what happens, guys? That's called letting go of an outcome. So when you're attached to an outcome, this is why I hate goals. Like, they're really important, but I'm more of a target guy. I'm more about flow guy, but it's also part of my personality. So I really do believe in goals. But the thing is, if you get stuck on the goal and not willing to let it go, you can really wreck your life too. I got to hit that 200,000. I got to hit that. Dude, you made 160 and it's great. Don't relax. You don't celebrate your wins unless they're the 200 or the 300 or like you get so hung up on these goals. I think they're really good for structure, but I've done really well without being that guy. So there is other ways to do it. But also just being attached to something, even a certain way things are done. And if you're attached to that, stress shows up. There's a J personality type that loves the plan, loves executing the plan, but they get so stuck on the plan. If anyone starts to mess with their plan, this is really stressful for them. So again, personality can bring in different levels of stress, different levels of pressure. But again, one thing, stress. Oh, yeah, just a sec here. I got two chats here. Jim, do we have, I didn't see that. Are we delaying? Are you good?
No, sorry, I was before.
Okay. Thoughts lead to moods. Moods leads to behaviors. Behaviors lead to actions. Action leads to outcomes. It's all about your thoughts. Yes, 100%. Okay. Now, a couple things, guys. We're going to get into some actual stuff here. Two things I want you guys to think about, because I think this is great. Maybe you're motivated. Maybe you're thinking a little bit different, which is a big win, okay? Maybe you're going to get off this call and you're going to have a different energy. That's awesome, but that's minimal to me because that doesn't last. What lasts is actual action steps, actually putting in the work on this. Just like Christmas, I got results because I executed. Just like your mental and your personal game, you need to do some homework. First of all, first question. Who are you hanging out with? This is massive. Who do you spend time with? What I would like you to think about is we all have this magnetic force. If you change who you are, like Jen, using your example, there will be someone in your life that does not fit you anymore if you raise your vibration. Okay? If you raise your energy, like we're not talking new agey, we're talking facts here. One guy's happy all the time, one guy's grumpy all the time. They don't match anymore. Two grumpy people match, two happy people match. This is how it works. So you have to ask yourself, I don't care if it's your freaking wife, your kid, I don't care who it is, but there is something about what I want you to do is think about the 10, it's called an inner circle audit. I want you to do this sometime. You know what? Screw this. We're going to do this right now. Get a pen and paper out. We're not going to finish it, but I'm going to start you off. Write down 1 to 10. And what I want you to do, I'm going to time this to 2 or 3 minutes just to start, okay? Because I got to get you guys, like, I can't get you to do anything. That's an old belief system. I think I can get you. No, that's not even real. See, if you watch me hesitate and I turn around, I say something now and I realize that's not totally true. So I back it out and I get honest. Oh, I got to get you guys motivated or whatever. I just go, no, that's not true. That's an old thought. That's a pattern thought. The real truth is, and I speak it and say, I can't motivate these people because they have to motivate themselves. So see, it's just, you watch me do this. You'll see me all the time. No, that's not true. The real truth is, this is what I want you guys to start doing. When you think a thought, just go, is it true? Well, what's the real truth here? And just call it. Say it as raw as you can. Like, oh, I'm doing great today. No, I'm feeling good. Actually, no, I'm not. I feel like shit. No, I'm not worried about it at all. Deep down, you got to just be honest with yourself. I'm really worried. Like there's an alignment that has to happen with truth. Now, inner circle audit, the 10 people that you spend most of your time with. I know there's 5 people, you become like the 5 people. I say 5's too easy because someone's not going to make that list that you don't want to make. That's why 10. So what I want you to do is write down the 10 people that you spend most of your time with. Friends, family. Because of time, I'm going to get you started on this, okay? We're not going to sit here and finish the whole thing.
Do your kids and family count as one?
I don't know. I just make this shit up on the fly, Peter. What do you think? I don't know. No, I think I would probably definitely change. I don't know. I think everything's got context of what's going on. Like if you're spending time with your daughter all the time and then you're spending time with like your mom or dad, I'd probably put them separate, people that you actually spend a lot of time with. Okay. See, all of a sudden we're actually doing stuff. Can I just tell you guys something really fascinating? Again, a mental game. Watch this thought. You know what? I got to stay in the gym. I got no time to go to the gym. Okay. Got no time to go to the gym. It's just so much work to do. Thoughts. I've been going to the gym for 8-9 months now with a private trainer, half an hour, 3 times a week. You start looking at the numbers. That's 1.5 hours out of how many hours? Let's see here. I'll just do it real quick here. 24 hours times 7. We have 168 hours, okay, in a week. I spend 1.5 hours working out. I've lost 15 inches and I've got muscles like I haven't seen in a while. I'm getting real results. I am strong and it's 1.5 hours out of 168 hours. Do you know how easy it is to change your life? Do you know how easy it is to shift, guys? There's a good thought. Let's go with that one. Do you know how easy it is? How about, oh, it's hard to change. Go ahead, believe that shit. Yours isn't true. Neither is mine totally. So I'm going to believe mine. It's easy to change. I really believe that though. What we're doing here is when I saw everyone put their head down and start writing, it made me think, look how easy that is to actually put some work in. Like the minimal amount of time to make a shift is unbelievable. It doesn't take much time. It just, you got to do it. So out of these 10 people, what I want you to do later is, do they strengthen me or do they weaken me? Or are they neutral? I don't believe in neutral. Let's pick one. If they're not lifting you up and strengthening you somehow, that'd be in a challenge. That'd be like when you're around them, you feel up. I'm going to give you an example that's something to think about that I challenged myself. My wife challenged me. Years ago, my parents and I, it's just lately, my dad and I are becoming actual friends. It's been a long haul for my past. He's had his own bullshit to deal with as well. And so what's crazy is there was a time in my life, I'd say 10 years ago, maybe, I cut my mom and dad, brother-in-law and sister completely out of my life. Like done, nothing, zero. It was like a big deal. It was a big deal because every time I'm around them, I felt like there's Ben. Whether I deserved it or not, it didn't matter. I felt bad around them. And I felt like I just felt my wife wouldn't know, but I'd go hang out with my mom and dad or whatever. I'd come home and she goes, were you with your mom? Were you with your dad today? I go, well, how do you know? She goes, you're being an asshole. And I'd have this weird side effect after being with them because it made me feel like a piece of shit. Yes, I had my own insecurities and I wanted them to love me and I was trying to make them happy and all my own stuff, but I couldn't get through all of that dysfunction with me being in their lives. So I got extremely aggressive on who is in my life. That's where I put my mentor in my life. I only put people that would absolutely lift me up and challenge me in a good way that had my best interests at heart. And I just want you to know, this will change your life forever, but it's extremely hard. If you take out that energy source, it's not there anymore. But guess what? I came around and I put rules and boundaries on how they have to be with me to be in relationship. So what I did was I increased my personal value by setting the standard of that relationship. So this is a very big deal, guys. Very big deal. If you can take a look and audit the people you spend time with, this will change your energy, your pressure, everything. Just think about this. What if we hung out with a guy? Let's say that the most you've ever made is $300,000. But now you built a 5-member, we're just using money as an example, a 5-member network that are all $150 million guys. Don't you think that you would be able to raise your income just by being around them? Because their belief systems are different. Your brain would look at them and go, oh, I could do that. Oh, wow, am I ever playing small? You create a very good contrast. The same thing happens when you deal with like I got hockey buddies that want to go out, and one guy's like, hey man, do you want to go hang out or whatever? And I'm just like, ugh, he's a good dude, but I just protect my energy. I really do. It's one of the most powerful things I've ever done. Does anyone in their head? So can I just stop for 1 second? Can I get a little feedback here? Where's someone that's willing to chat? Like, is there someone in your life that you're like, yeah, I got to do something about it?
I can jump in and say I already went through an experience like this and kicked off one friend who I've known since childhood because of his consistent complaining, negativity. I would leave our interactions feeling more drained than I would inspired. So I just started to think maybe this is not a relationship that I should be continuing with.
And how is hard? And what is your energy, your mental state? How's it been since then?
Yeah, well, you can just see it's been improved because you're more aware now of how other people sometimes can create a feeling for you, or create sort of, if they're complaining, you mirror them and you complain now about everything. And they complain about the weather, you mirror it, you complain about the weather, and it bleeds into your day-to-day life. So true. And I sort of just gets me think of like, you know, what you think about expands. And so if you're constantly thinking about all this negativity stuff, that's only what's going to be expanding in your life.
It's totally true. What you think about grows. And that's just the truth. That's why you choose to think about different things.
Yeah.
The other day I was at a CMA. I sat down with this couple and it was so weird. Next thing you know, I observed myself bitching about the government with him. And I'm just like, wow, did I ever just match his energy? Wow. I want to be the guy to lift his energy up, but I didn't. And it was weird because it was almost like I did what I needed to do to connect on his level, which is really important in sales. But there's a yucky feeling when I left that I kind of went into like bitching about the NDP government and and it's like, what am I doing? I really try not to get into that because that is completely, there's nothing you can do about it. Like I said, you're out of control. Anyways, so there you go, guys. Do an audit. I'd like you to maybe think about adding someone to your circle, actively looking at it, maybe mentally and spiritually call it into your life. Like just put it out there. I'm looking for someone that's going to be a great influence in my life. Someone that's going to lift me up, but you got to make room for that person. I want you to really start being aware. The next thing is this, your environment. This is something that I spend a lot of time with. I'm not happy with a lot of my environments. I got 5 kids. I run businesses. I'm always doing something. And guess what? Every once in a while, I look at my car and I go, man, what a slob. And I'm just like, even that comment is judgmental. Like, I feel like, take a look at where you spend your time. So who, and then where. How do you feel at the coffee shop that you sit in? How do you feel in your office? How do you feel in your home? I'm saying feel. Do you feel alive and free and open? And is it an environment you grow in? What networking groups are you in? How is that environment? How's your physical bedroom set up? Like, is there a half renovated something you need to get finished? Because you feel like, geez, and it just mentally wears you down. Guys, I'm like seriously challenged with this because I got things everywhere in my house. Like I walk in, I'm like, holy shit. And then you clean it, boom, it's there again. It's like, this is just the life. So it's like, Jen's laughing. She's like, yep, I get it. Anyone with kids is like, they get it. Unless you're like crazy organized, which I'm not. And so this is something that if you ever get into a funk, go clean your car. Clean out an old closet. Take a junk drawer and freaking clean that thing out because it's a symbol of creating space and lowering your stress and your pressure. Pick something that you've avoided, the trunk of your car. We're talking very practical tip here, but be very aware of how you feel. It's just another technique to raise your energy. So I would do the same thing. Let's take 10 areas that you spend most of your time. So the actual, let's take 2 minutes again, write down 1 to 10. What areas do you, what physical location are you spending most of your time in? For me, it's coffee shops, my office, my home, my car. You know, like I'm in the hockey dressing room. My environments are, you know, like some people have a religious practice. Some people have like, you know, different meetings. I would literally look at not necessarily about the people involved, because that does come up, but your actual environment. Do I like where I live? And live means your day to day. Like, is there a better coffee shop where I feel more alive? So I changed one because it has way more windows. So I want to be actively trying to work on my energy. When I'm on my zone, guys, like some of you guys saw me speak in Toronto, I'm in my zone there. And it's like super, it just feels like, man, it feels like you're living on fire. You feel so good. That nothing, like you're so inspired. Now, man, that's a cool place to live. Even when I pick my events, like I've done them at like wilderness centers, weird ones. I don't like hotels. Stiffy old hotel. Like I want something that's going to be light, like the Vancouver event. It's all glass. I've got this venue that's all glass. Just because it's very important, my environment has to be thought about. I can't hit it all the time, but I just wanted to bring some awareness to this call on your environment as well. Any thoughts on that?
I guess the big thing is
Yeah.
just bringing awareness to it. Like, how many people don't even think about these questions?
That's the
And
plan.
then,
Yeah.
you know, and then
100%.
that's what I see is just the awareness. And then, okay, how do I feel?
And a lot of times we're not wanting to feel it, so we don't ask the question. That's why people
Yeah.
do not spend time with me. Not joking. There's a different group of people that are not on this call because they're going to need to face truth with me. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I create a different reaction in people because I'll call you and be like, hey, is that really true? What the fuck? Like there's a different, it's like a magnet. There's the good ones that go boom, connect with people. And then there's like this repelling one. And that's because I'll probably be okay to be me and be truthful. And it causes other people to have to look at that. So that's why awareness is literally the step one in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone that's worked with me, people will see the study when I do it in Edmonton and Vancouver, but there's a study done on the 200 million plus people. There were 7 years of data used, and authenticity and self-awareness was the common theme amongst the $200 million people. This is why I've added this call. You bring awareness, now we can actually run a business. Now we can actually have a relationship. Now we can actually, but when you're running blind, you're going to self-sabotage. You're going to do something. You're going to choose the wrong thing.